Hey everyone, it's Kazlo, and welcome back to my channel. It's time for the first segment of my RPG Club playthrough of Persona 3 Reload. But what is the RPG Club? I've been an avid listener of the podcast The RPG Years, and its predecessor podcasts, The RPG Golden Years and The RPG After Years. The podcast focuses on RPG reviews and news. They regularly do a community event known as the RPG Club. Imagine a book club, but for RPGs. They break up a community-chosen RPG into digestible chunks, usually about 5 hours, and discuss those segments every 2 weeks like a book club. If you want to check out the RPG Years, you can find a link in the description below. At its core, Persona 3 splits your time between two completely different games. During the day, it's a life simulator, while at night, it becomes a standard JRPG dungeon crawler, exploring the mysterious Tower Tartarus. Tartarus consists of randomly generated floors grouped into themed blocks. As you climb, you'll encounter stronger enemies, collect treasure, rescue missing people, and eventually reach barriers that halt your progress until the next major story event. Combat uses a traditional turn-based system. Every character and enemy possesses strengths and weaknesses tied to different damage types. Striking an enemy's weakness knocks it down and grants an additional turn, while knocking down every enemy allows the party to unleash an all-out attack that deals heavy damage to the entire group. Likewise, failing to cover your own weaknesses can quickly turn a favorable battle into disaster, making party composition just as important as raw character levels. The protagonist stands apart from every other party member thanks to the wildcard ability. While your teammates are tied to a single persona throughout the game, the protagonist can collect, fuse, and switch between dozens of personas during battle. That flexibility allows you to adapt to almost any situation, whether you need elemental attacks, healing, defensive skills, or support abilities. Because of that, much of your long-term progression revolves around building a stable of personas rather than simply grinding levels. Creating those personas happens inside the Velvet Room. Igor will fuse 2 or more personas together to create stronger ones, often inheriting skills from their predecessors. Fusion quickly becomes the heart of the progression system. Rather than growing attached to a single persona, the game constantly encourages you to replace older personas with more powerful creations that better fit your current needs. Meanwhile, your daytime hours revolve around managing a calendar. Every day gives you a limited number of opportunities to spend your time, so every decision comes with an opportunity cost. Do you study to raise your academics, work a part-time job for some extra money, or spend time with a friend to deepen a social link? Since you can only choose one major daytime activity and one evening activity each day, deciding how to spend your free time becomes one of the game's central mechanics. Social links deserve special mention because they're directly tied into character progression. Every social link represents one of the tarot arcana and levels up as you spend time with that character. Besides fleshing out the cast and the world, increasing a social link grants an experience bonus whenever you fuse a persona of the corresponding arcana. In other words, the better your relationships become, the stronger your personas become as well. It's a clever system that connects the game's social and combat mechanics, ensuring that neither half of the experience feels disconnected from the other. The game opens with you, the protagonist, arriving at Iwotadai as a transfer student at Gekkokan High School. As you leave the train station and make your way to your new dorm, the world feels unsettled. Coffins line the streets, blood stains the sidewalks, and an eerie silence hangs over the city. Strangely, none of it seems to bother you. When you arrive at the dorm, a mysterious boy wearing striped pajamas appears and asks you to sign a strange contract. After he disappears, Yukari Takaba and Mitsuru Kirijo welcome you to the dorm and show you to your room. The following morning, Yukari escorts you to school where you check in with the faculty before attending the opening ceremony. After classes, Junpei Iori introduces himself and quickly befriends you. Before long, Yukari interrupts the conversation and reminds you not to mention what happened the previous night. Junpei immediately jumps to the wrong conclusion, assuming the two of you have a secret relationship, leading to an awkward misunderstanding. On your walk back to the dorm, you overhear rumors about people falling victim to a mysterious illness that leaves them emotionless and apathetic. The next day, you meet Suji Ukuzuki, the chairman of the school board at the dorm. That night, after you fall asleep, Suji and the other dorm residents secretly monitor you through security cameras, wondering whether you possess something they call the potential. Elsewhere in the city, midnight strikes. Time freezes as ordinary people transform into coffins. In a dark alley, you witness a man surrounded by these coffins, before his body begins to melt into a grotesque creature. Suji and the others identify this hidden period as the Dark Hour and speculate that you possess the potential because you remain awake instead of becoming a coffin. The scene shifts to the mysterious Velvet Room, where you meet Igor and his assistant Elizabeth. Igor explains that the contract you signed allows you to enter this place between dream and reality. The following afternoon, Junpei shows you around Polonia Mall. That evening, you return to the dorm. still questioning your encounter in the Velvet. During the next dark hour, Akihiko Sanada radios the dorm while fleeing from powerful monsters. He arrives injured, warning that shadows have followed him. Yukari attempts to rush you outside through the dorm's back entrance and hands you a short sword. Before you can escape, a shadow blocks your path, forcing you and Yukari onto the rooftop. Several grotesque hand-shaped shadows corner you. Yukari raises an evoker, a gun-like device used to summon personas, but fear prevents her from pulling the trigger before a shadow knocks it from her hand. The shadows ignore you and turn their attention to Yukari. You pick up the evoker, briefly see the mysterious boy again, press the barrel against your head, and calmly whisper, "Per-so-na." Pulling the trigger unlocks your starter persona, Orpheus, Master of Strings. You then scream out in pain as that persona transforms into a chained demon that defeats the monsters before returning to normal. After another quick battle, you collapse from exhaustion. You awaken in the Velvet Room, where Igor explains that personas are the manifestations of human psyche, and that the bonds you forge, known as social links, will strengthen your power. More than a week later, you wake up in a hospital, with Yukari at your bedside. Doctors can't find anything wrong with you, concluding that you simply exhausted yourself. Yukari opens up about her father's death in a mysterious explosion and her strained relationship with her mother. She also admits that the rooftop encounter was her first battle against the shadow, and that she was terrified. When you return to school, Yukari tells you that Chairman Ikutsuki wants to speak with you after classes. At the dorm, he introduces you to Akihiko before explaining the truth behind the dark hour. It's a hidden hour that exists between one day and the next. During this time, shadows emerge to prey upon anyone who remains conscious, instead of simply sealed in a coffin. The dorm residents belong to the Specialized Extracurricular Execution Squad, or SEAS for short. Led by Mitsuru and advised by Shuji. As persona users, they alone can fight the shadows. You officially join the team, forming your first social link, the Fool Arcana. That night, the mysterious boy returns to warn that the end of everything is drawing near. The following day, you spend most of the day sleeping, still recovering from your ordeal. That evening, Akihiko reveals that Junpei has recently awakened to the potential and will be moving into the dorm. With another persona user on the team, SEAS can finally begin exploring Tartarus. The next evening, Mitsuru gathers everyone for their first expedition. Every dark hour, Gekkoukan High School transforms into Tartarus, an enormous tower that stretches endlessly into the sky. Inside its entrance, you discover another door to the Velvet Room, where Igor reveals that you possess the unique ability to wield multiple personas, making you the wild card. The game then introduces Tartarus and its dungeon-crawling mechanics. The following day, Akihiko takes you to the local police station, where Officer Kurosawa serves as the team's equipment supplier. Over the next month, you balance school life, build social links, and explore Tartarus alongside Yukari and Junpei. Eventually, your climb reaches the blocked path, preventing any further progress. On May 2nd, the mysterious boy once again appears, warning that the coming full moon will bring great danger. When the full moon arrives on May 9th, Mitsuru detects an unusually powerful shadow on the city's monorail. SEAS races to intercept it and discovers a train suspended on the tracks. The moment the team boards, the train suddenly lurches forward. Although everything normally stands still during the dark hour, the shadow has seized control of the train and is accelerating towards disaster. Junpei charges ahead, eager to prove himself, while the rest of the team battles through the train cars. They eventually regroup near the front and confront the Priestess Arcana shadow, the force controlling the train. After defeating it, the team slams on the emergency brakes, bringing the train to a stop just before catastrophe strikes. Although the passengers never realize how close they came to death, Mitsuru warns that this victory may only mark the beginning of something far more dangerous. The following day, the path inside Tartarus is mysteriously no longer blocked, allowing the team to climb even further. Life briefly returns to normal as you continue exploring Tartarus, strengthening social links, and surviving the greatest challenge of high school life: midterm exams. After midterms, Akihiko finally recovers from his injuries and rejoins the front lines. Together, the team pushes farther into Tartarus until another blocked path halts their progress. Around the same time, rumors begin circulating about a shy student named Fuka Yamagishi, who has become the target of relentless bullying. One day, she suddenly disappears. Soon afterwards, ghost stories spread throughout the school, and one of the girls involved in bullying collapses unconscious outside the campus. SEAS investigates and eventually questions one of the bullies, who claims they locked Fuka inside the school gymnasium after classes on the day she vanished. The team realizes that if the dark hour began while Fuka remained inside the school, she would have become trapped inside Tartarus. Determined to rescue her, SEAS spends the night inside the school, waiting for the dark hour to begin. When Tartarus appears, the team becomes separated while searching the tower. As you regroup with everyone, you discover Fuka alive, hiding from the shadows despite having no combat training. At the entrance to Tartarus, Yukari and Mitsuru suddenly come under attack by the Emperor and Empress Arcana shadows. As the rest of the team rushes back to help, one of Fuka's bullies wanders into Tartarus in a trance. Desperate to protect her, Fuka awakens her own persona, Lucia, whose abilities allow her to detect enemy weaknesses and support the team from afar. The Emperor and Empress constantly shift their elemental weaknesses, blocking all other forms of damage. With Fuka revealing each new weakness, the team exploits every opening and overwhelms the pair with coordinated all-out attacks. After the battle, Fuka collapses from exhaustion. The team carries her back to safety, confident that the bully will forget the night's events once the dark hour ends. With another crisis behind them, Cease returns to the dorm to rest and recover. And that's it for this segment of Persona 3. Coming back to Persona 3 after more than a decade has been interesting. I originally tried the FES version, but bounced off it pretty quickly. Between hitting the first full moon roadblock with almost no indication that I simply needed to wait, and the inability to directly control my party members, I lost interest before the story really had a chance to hook me. Reload doesn't actually fix the full moon roadblocks. They still bring Tartarus exploration to a complete stop until the next story event. The difference is that I already know what the game expects of me this time, so I didn't feel lost on what to do next. But this leads into my biggest criticism of the modern Persona formula, and even Metaphor ReFantasio falls into the same trap. You can usually finish the month's dungeon long before the calendar advances, leaving weeks where your only meaningful activities are raising social stats or progressing social links. The systems are enjoyable at first, but spending several in-game weeks doing little else starts to feel repetitive. Speaking of social links, Persona 3's lineup hasn't grabbed me as much as the ones in Persona 4 and Persona 5 did. I do appreciate that several of them require more than simply reaching the right social stat to unlock them. As such, unlocking usually involves paying attention to the world and meeting specific conditions, which makes them feel a little bit more organic. On the other hand, some of the early social links are odd. Building a meaningful bond with a 6-year-old girl or an overweight school bully feels more awkward than compelling. The cast also hasn't clicked with me yet. Compared to Persona 4 and 5, the members of Cease still feel like acquaintances more than friends. I'm sure that will change as the game develops, but this opening segment doesn't spend much time building those relationships. That said, I'm still invested enough to keep going. Right now, the story is almost entirely built on mystery. What is Tartarus? What causes the dark out? The game hasn't provided many answers yet, but that's understandable. This is still the introduction after all. Hopefully the payoff will make the slow start worthwhile. So that's it for this segment of the RPG Club. If you want to follow along with the club, be sure to hit that subscribe button to see new videos when they are posted. Additionally, if you want to check me out elsewhere, I have links to my Twitch, Twitter, and Discord in the description below. See you all next time!